clang of swords clashing. Feel the tremor of galloping feet through the ground. Enemies scattered before him. Victory songs filled the streets. But power has a taste. At first it is sweet, then it begins to demand more.
Every witch, every medium, every caller of spirits, they must leave this land.
When the spirit rose, she screamed. The air shifted. The room felt heavier, colder. The smell of blood soaked into dry ground. Wounded, exhausted, Saul leaned upon his sword. The moment, memories rushed through him, oil dripping down his face. Tears from the crowd, Samuel's warning eyes, David's harp, the silence of heaven. And he fell forward onto his blade.
Come closer. No, closer than that. Let the fire warm your knees. This story must not be told from far away. It breathes better when we sit near each other and the night is thick.
That night was thin like a blade, and the air carried the dry scent of dust and old leaves. Before the sun had fully risen over the rooftops of Israel, before traders could arrange their figs and barley neat in baskets, a drum began to speak. It was not a dancing drum. It was not the quick, teasing rhythm of celebration. It was slow, heavy, measured, boom. The sound rolled down narrow streets, pressed against clay walls, and slipped through open doorways. A woman holding a clay pot paused mid-step. A butcher stopped sharpening his knife. Even the dogs lowered themselves to the ground as though the earth itself had warned them. Boom! The town crier stepped into the center of the square. His bare feet were coated with pale dust. His throat moved as he swallowed. He lifted his hammer and struck the drum one last time.
Hear the decree of the king!
The crowd thickened. The air smelled of sweat and roasted grain and morning smoke.
Every witch, every medium, every caller of spirits, they must leave this land. Shrines will be torn down, their altars destroyed. Anyone who seeks them will answer with his life.
A murmur rippled outward like a stone dropped into still water. So now we chase shadows. He tugged at his grandmother's wrapper.
Grandma, why would the king fear such people?
She did not answer him immediately. She watched the crier's drum tremble slightly in his grip before she said softly, "Because sometimes a man who speaks loudly against darkness is already afraid of it."
Listen carefully. That king was not born with a crown on his head.
He was once just a tall young man walking behind stubborn donkeys, dust sticking to his legs, the sun pressed against the back of his neck. His name was Saul. Before Saul, before crowns and decrees, there was a man whose voice could silence a nation without raising it. Samuel. If you had stood near him, you would have smelled oil and incense clinging to his robe. You would have noticed the way people stepped aside instinctively when he walked past, not out of fear of punishment, but out of reverence. He had heard God's voice when he was still a child sleeping near the sacred lamp. Had grown up where prayers did not echo, they answered. When Samuel spoke, even kings that did not yet exist would have bowed. It was to this man that Israel came one restless evening. "We want a king," the elder said. Samuel's heart tightened inside his chest. Wind moved gently through the branches above them, carrying the scent of dry grass.
You have God, he replied.
But they insisted. Their voices were thick with comparison. The nations had kings, men in armor, men whose commands rang out across battlefields. They wanted something they could see, something they could point to, something that looked strong. God allowed their request, though it was heavy with consequence. That is how Saul was found. Tall, impressive, strong enough to making people whisper, "He looks like a king."
The first time Samuel poured oil over Saul's head, the oil ran slowly down his hair, thick and fragrant. It dripped along his jaw and soaked into his collar.
Saul's breath caught in his throat. He felt chosen and exposed at the same time, as though heaven had placed a spotlight on him and everyone. could suddenly see what he himself did not understand. Later, when the people gathered to present him publicly, they could not find him. He was hiding among supplies. Future king crouched behind baggage, heart pounding.
Why was he hiding?
Because greatness frightens those who carry it, before it strengthens them.
When Saul finally stood before the people, he towered over them. And they cheered. Oh, they cheered. The sound rolled like thunder through the valley. Drums beat, dust lifted, women smiled, men nodded in approval. And for a while, Saul was magnificent. He rode into battle with confidence. You could smell the metallic swords clashing, feel the tremor of galloping feet through the ground. Enemies scattered before him. Victory songs filled the streets. But power has a taste. At first it is sweet, then it begins to demand more. One day before battle, Samuel told him, "Wait 7 days."
I will wait. We will be ready. I will come. Offer the sacrifice when I arrive. 7 days.
The army grew restless.
Armor shifted. The sun burned hotter than usual. You could hear murmurs spreading like ants across a fallen fruit. By the 7th day, Samuel had not yet appeared. Saul's mouth felt dry. His thoughts raced. If I wait longer, they will lose confidence. Lose confidence, we lose strength. If we lose strength, we lose everything. Fear speaks quickly. It sounds reasonable. It sounds strategic.
Bring the sacrifice.
Saul ordered. The fire roared. Fat hissed. Smoke climbed into the sky. And just as the last ember settled, Samuel appeared. The look in his eyes was not fiery anger. It was something worse. Disappointment.
What have you done?
Saul answered too fast.
The people were scattering. I forced himself.
That phrase hung in the air like smoke that refused to clear. Samuel's voice trembled, not with weakness, but with sorrow.
King will not endure.
The crown remained on Saul's head, but a crack had formed beneath it. Later came another command: destroy Amalek completely. Completely. The battle was fierce. Dust clouded vision. The smell of blood mixed with the bleating of sheep. When it was over, Saul stood victorious, but not obedient. The king lived. The best livestock remained. When Samuel approached, the animals betrayed Saul before he could speak.
What is this sound I hear?
The people kept them to sacrifice. Again the people.
Samuel's grief was visible. It settled into the lines of his face.
To obey is better than sacrifice.
That day, Samuel turned his back and walked away, and something unseen withdrew from Saul's spirit. After that, the palace did not feel the same. Music entered his life in the form of a young shepherd named David. When David played the harp, the troubled air around Saul softened. The notes felt cool, like water poured over fevered skin. But then the songs outside changed. Saul has slain his thousands. The crowd roared. That second line pressed into Saul's chest like a blade. Jealousy does not announce itself loudly. It settles quietly. It watches. It counts. Saul began to measure every glance David received, every cheer, every whisper. And then Samuel died. Old age took him gently, but his absence hit like a storm. Nation wailed. Dust covered heads. The scent of burial spices clinged to the air. Saul stood near the grave and felt something collapse inside him. Man he once ran to when confused. The voice that corrected him. Gone. When the Philistines gathered again, Their campfires lining the hills. Like a second sky, Saul's heart pounded in his ears. He prayed. Silence. He waited for dreams. Nothing. He sought prophets. Heaven felt like closed bronze doors. And so, in the darkness of night, the same king who had won banished mediums covered himself in disguise and whispered,
Find me one.
The road to Endor was cold. Crickets pierced the silence. Dry leaves cracked beneath cautious steps. The woman's house smelled of damp soil and crushed herbs. Shadows clung to corners. A single lamp flickered weakly. "Bring up Samuel," Saul said, his voice lower than usual. The woman hesitated. Fear flickered across her face.
When the spirit rose, she screamed. The air shifted. The room felt heavier, colder.
Saul fell forward. Samuel's presence was unmistakable, stern, final.
Why have you disturbed me?
God does not answer me anymore. The reply came like earth closing over a coffin. Tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Battle followed swiftly. His sons fell first. The noise of clashing steel rang sharp. The smell of blood soaked into dry ground. Wounded, exhausted, Saul leaned upon his sword. A moment, memories rushed through him, oil dripping down his face. Tears from the crowd, Samuel's warning eyes, David's harp, the silence of heaven. And he fell forward onto his blade. And just like that, the first king of Israel, chosen, anointed, undone. And the night holds that lesson still, because insecurity can ruin what destiny built. Half obedience still carries full consequence. And when a man turns away from the voice that corrects him, he may one day chase voices that destroy him.
The fire is low now, but the story remains. Remember, obedience is better than sacrifice.